Hello, my name is Dr. Sharon Townsend, and I'm the Executive Director of Development and Alumni Affairs at Woodbury University, which is now named the University of Redlands, Los Angeles. It's a pleasure to be speaking to you today about leadership. My journey has been kind of all over the place in that I started out in leadership from a young age by being on a board and volunteering, and that led to other CEO and executive director positions for children's health care, which led me now to higher education. When most people hear the word leadership, they think of titles. They think of CEOs, presidents, directors, managers, and even team captains. They think that leadership begins when someone gives them authority. I believe in something different. I believe that leadership is not a position, but rather it's a choice, and sometimes it actually chooses you. You don't need a title to make a difference. You don't need to be at the top of an organization to have influence. And most importantly, you don't need permission to demonstrate integrity, initiative, and courage. Just lead from where you are. Wherever you are in your career, wherever you might be in school, wherever you are in your life, you have the ability and, more importantly, the responsibility to lead. Leadership starts before the title. Think about the people you've been influenced by most. Are they people with the biggest job title, the biggest office? Or they were a teacher or administrator who took time to mentor you? Maybe it was someone who saw potential in it when you didn't see it in yourself. Or the friend who encouraged you during difficult times. Or the soccer person that helped you get a goal and helped console you when you missed it. The teammate who stayed up late helping you solve problems. And those individuals are ones that influenced you positively, and not because they had authority about you and over you, but because they cared about you. Some of the most influential leaders are those with no titles, that those that bring kindness to your life. I'm reminded today of people at my own university that touch students and staff and administrators daily without the big titles. People in maintenance, people on campus security, and the cafeteria workers who smile as they feed us every day. They're here to help us navigate, but they all have different roles, but they all have the same mission. True leadership starts a long time before someone gives you a title. And the way in which we obtain a title and a leadership position will often determine, are we really ready for it or not? I do think that one of the biggest traps we fall into is the someday mindset. We tell ourselves, some days when I'm promoted, I'll lead. Someday when I have more experience, I'll speak up. And someday when I have more authority, I'll make a difference. Leadership doesn't work that way. At least it hasn't for me. We may wait forever if we wait for that perfect circumstance. The habits we practice today are what will help make us great leaders tomorrow. We have to build trust if we want people to trust us later. We have to encourage people now if we want to inspire them later. And we have to demonstrate responsibility now if we want responsibility later. Leadership is something we develop every single day, not when we turn on that magic button after getting that promotion. So, how do you lead from where you are? How do you actually do this? Start by taking initiative. Leaders see what needs to be done and they step forward. They constantly ask, what can I do to help? Not waiting to be told. How can I solve this problem? How can I improve the process? Taking initiative doesn't require authority. It sometimes begins with the smallest of actions, like volunteering, something I started young in my career, helping, identifying solutions, or just doing what's expected. Don't wait to be asked. People who consistently take initiative become the others look up to, trust, and follow. Try to influence through your character. Leadership is who you are, not what you do. People are watching you. Trust me, they are. They notice when we keep our promises. They notice if we're early. They notice if we're late. They notice if we're respectful, and they notice how we respond under pressure. They notice whether we give credit to others. Your character builds and creates credibility, and credibility creates influence. You don't need a title to have tremendous impact, rather, a strong character. You are someone others will follow when you're dependable, you're honest, you're humble, and you're respectful. You know, I think it's important that you lift others up. Kindness is a rare commodity today, and I think it's one of the most powerful forms of leadership is to help others succeed. Great leaders look around and they ask, "Who can I help?" while others try to climb higher. Sometimes leadership means sharing knowledge. Sometimes it means offering encouragement, and sometimes it means recognizing someone else's contribution. People rarely forget those who believed in them. We live in a world that's slow to recognize others. So don't be that person, because when you help others grow, you'll create a culture where everyone becomes stronger. And I do believe that's leadership at its best. Just imagine what would happen if every one of us decided to lead from where we are. Imagine if every employee acted like an owner, if every teammate chose encouragement over criticism, and if every person looked for solutions instead of excuses. What if every individual asked, "How can I make things better?" Organizations would improve, communities would improve, families would improve. I think of the great pitcher and designated hitter Shohei Ohtani. I've watched him get hit by other pitchers, and he just stands there, calm and calm and calm. I've watched him when people in the dugout and other Dodgers against other teams rile up and want to fight. And he's the one that goes, "It's okay. It's okay." That's leadership, because leadership is far less about position and more about influence. In conclusion, think about how you can define your role. Is that title going to define your role? No, because it doesn't define your ability to lead. You don't need a corner office to demonstrate integrity. You don't need a promotion to serve others, and you don't need authority to have influence over others. The opportunity to lead is right in front of you. Don't wait for that bigger title or a better position or the perfect moment. Lead through your actions, lead through your character, lead through your service to others. And most importantly, lead from where you are. And don't forget, leadership is not where you sit, it's about how you show up. Our futures won't be secured by a handful of leaders at the top. It's going to be secured by hundreds of us choosing to show up every day, taking ownership, solving problems, and supporting one another. Every person matters. You don't need a higher position to have a higher impact. Start today and lead from where you are.